Good morning, it's April 19th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. My question today is, how many of you believe the southern border of the United States is secure? Well, if you listen to Homeland Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, the southern border of the United States is fully secure. When asked this question directly by Congressman Dan Bishop of North Carolina, Mayorkas said, quote, "Yes, and we are working day in and day out to enhance security," end quote. Well, at that same hearing, the FBI Director, Christopher Wray, was asked a similar question. His response was a bit different. Quote, "Well, I can only speak to border security from our narrow lane. What I would say is that we see significant criminal threats coming from the southern border, whether it's guns, drugs, money, or violence." And he then added, quote, "We see transnational criminal organizations that are sending drugs here, and they're using street gangs here to distribute it. And that contributes to the violent crime crisis here," end quote. Now, I think those words from Director Wray should let us all know that the top law enforcement agency in the nation sees major problems at the southern border. In the Homeland Security hearing last month, the House Homeland Security witness was Border Chief Raul Ortiz. He is the man in charge of the Border Patrol and must represent those agents. When asked tough questions, he should answer them truthfully. He was asked by Chairman Mark Green about Secretary Mayorkas' claim that his department has operational control of the border. Now, I love that term, operational control, because that can mean anything. Specifically, Chairman Green asked, quote, "Does DHS have operational control of our entire border?" End quote. Chief Ortiz responded very quickly, quote, "No, sir." The problem from my perspective is that the Biden administration, for political reasons, sent a clear signal to migrants that his administration would not be using the same rules as the Trump administration, and this was interpreted as the border being open. And so they came by the millions. Biden and Mayorkas both deny the situation at the border is a crisis. When asked this question directly during his appearance on 60 Minutes, the conversation with Secretary Mayorkas went like this. Sharon Alfonsi, the CBS interviewer, said, "What the American people see is a border that looks to be chaotic, what looks to be porous." Secretary Mayorkas, "Well, the number of people that are arriving at our borders is at an extraordinary height. There's no question about that. But that is not unique to the southern border of the United States. There is a tremendous amount of movement throughout the hemisphere, and in fact throughout the world." Sharon Alfonsi, the chief of Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz, testified before Congress that some areas of the border are in crisis. Do you agree? Alejandro Mayorkas, "I think that we face a very serious challenge in certain parts of the border." Sharon Alfonsi, "Do you view what's happening right now at the border as a crisis?" Secretary Mayorkas, "I view it as a significant challenge." Sharon Alfonsi, "Why won't you say the word crisis?" Secretary Mayorkas, "You know what? Because I have tremendous faith in the people of the Department of Homeland Security, and a crisis speaks to me of withdrawal from our mission. And we are only putting more force and more energy into it." End quote. So that's how he was interviewed on 60 Minutes and how he responded. Well, I have news for Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas. We do have a crisis at the southern border. Using the department's own statistics, here's what you see when it pertains to apprehensions. And I need to caveat that by saying this is only those caught. It does not include the getaways, which would make the numbers only much higher. These are a yearly average of apprehensions versus returns per administration over the last 20 plus years. Under the Bush administration, they apprehended just over 1 million, 1,002,111. And they returned 1,039,539, so they actually sent more back than they caught. Under Obama, they apprehended 413,000, sent 273,000 back for a net 140,000 stayed here. Under Trump, 488,000 were apprehended, 149,000 returned. But under Biden, 1 million, this is per year, 1,832,000 have been apprehended, only 934,000 returned. Now, most experts say that we're averaging just over 2 million illegal immigrants per year, and Biden just ignores the numbers and says it's not a crisis. He did not go to the border until he was basically shamed and hounded to where staff felt he could no longer avoid it. But the American public knows there's a crisis and something has to be done. Republicans should draft and pass a strong immigration bill in the House, then send it to the Senate, where it will surely die because the Democrats will then kill it, and the public will know they are the ones stopping any attempt at controlling immigration. They will claim that bill is unfair, but they will not offer any solution on their own. And that's for political reasons. In the meantime, the administration will sit on its hands and do nothing while millions more pour across the border, causing problems both financially and socially for communities in the nation. Something has to be done, but no one seems ready to act. And one last thing, when you go to those people that have apprehended, they fill out a form and most of them are released into the country with a date, and that might be 1, 2, sometimes 3 years before an administrative law judge hears their case, and then it's decided whether or not. And then the majority of them get denied asylum, but a lot of them don't even show up. It's been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the podcast, recommend it to your friends and hit the subscribe button.